the Solicitors Regulation Authority are playing coy, because I wrote this complaint quite clearly and wrote which court it was and the defendant's numbers. I didn't put the case number because I had the both the other numbers. I think they're the police numbers actually that go with it. I still gave the correct names of the defendants. Anyway, so who's this? Nicola Trifan, Miss Nicola Trifan, Customer Service Advisor, Solicitors Regulation Authority. Doesn't say Wolverhampton though, so they must be operating from another contact centre. So, I'll try again. So it is case T20220798. Phoebe Plummer and E Holland, which is taking place over this week and has been in session today. Well, it's after midnight now. Yesterday and today, and the previous day, at Southwark Crown Court under the South London Crown Prosecution Service Unit for the Crown Court. And the complaint is that the solicitors who work at the Crown Prosecution Service are regulated by the SRA, and they have to comply with the SRA rules. And when there's a breach, any solicitors working who are in breach or connected with breaches in rules have to be reported immediately or as practically as possible to the SRA, which I'm doing now, right? The breach of Criminal Procedure Rules 2020 is breaking the Solicitors Regulation Authority rules. I can tell you that. Because there are many, many solicitors who deal with criminal cases, either side. So everyone engages with the criminal procedure rules. So the breach is of the overriding objectives, part 1, 2, D, recognising the rights of the defendants, and HIV, recognising the needs of other cases. Rights don't have to be proved beyond reasonable doubt to a court of law or jury. Rights are recognised under the procedure rules. So therefore, you recognise a right through recognition. Those procedure rules don't require a claimed right to be proved beyond reasonable doubt to a jury, only recognised by a court. And in particular, in the Criminal Damage Act, it says that exercising a right, privilege, or interest is not to be construed against a defence against a charge. So, when you're recognising a right under the Criminal Damage Act 1971, it says in that act that you will not misconstrue the recognition of a right, privilege, or interest as a defence against a charge, nor a plea, because if it's not part of the recognition of a charge, and it's plea of guilty or not guilty, it's not to be misconstrued as defending that charge. It's separate matter, which means it doesn't have to be pleaded and proved. You see, it's not to be misconstrued as a defence against a charge. So it's nothing to do with a guilty or innocent plea anyway. That's why recognising a right or privilege is not to be construed against the charge, line of inquiry, or avenue whatsoever. That's why in the Criminal Procedure Rules, Part 1D, you recognise a right into effect. There is nothing in those rules that say you have to prove a right in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury. It's totally separate. Now, in this particular case of Phoebe Plummer and Anna Holland, they're doing a political action remonstration to Parliament with the consent of a number of people, which follows the definitions set out in the Public Act 13, the Tumultuous Petitioning Act 1661. That sets out the full definitions of what we're looking at when we're petitioning either Houses of Parliament or the King, and how consents can be recognised for such. And that we know that they're making representations to the public to promote their cause and gain more support and followers. It's an advertisement. So, I mean, it's the same model as under the Town and Country Planning Act 2007, Class E, which allows you to use the 1688 Bill of Rights right to petition, which says that all prosecutions are illegal, and supported by the 1689 Claim of Right, which says that all imprisonments are illegal. So when you calculate all that together, you're not liable to criminal prosecution. There's no criminal liability, which is exactly what we're talking about in the Criminal Damage Act. If you're exercising a right, privilege, or interest, there's no criminal liability. And another supporting document is in the Thomas Erskine May book, Usage of Parliament, the first edition, from page 300 to 308, which says that these petitions to address the Parliament with supporters do fall under parliamentary privileges. So they're exercising parliamentary privilege and the right to petition, and they're not criminally liable to criminal charges. It does say in the 1689 Claim of Right that they can be liable to civil actions against them, like, a civil case against them, but not criminal charges. So the solicitors working at the Crown Prosecution Service, who are regulated by the SRA, are clearly in breach of the Criminal Procedure Rules 2020, Overriding Objectives, Part 1. How's it going to the courtroom? So, I mean, I don't want to, you can speak to Justice Christopher Hehir till your face goes blue. Speak to them because your face ain't listening. But the Solicitors Regulation Authority do regulate the Crown Prosecution Service. It says that on the Leeds website, but it'll say it on every single website because they're all identical. That was just the one that came up in the Google results. The Crown Prosecution Service have solicitors who are SRA regulated. They have to follow the rules. They're not following the rules. Therefore, any breach must be reported to anyone who is aware of it at the most convenient time, most practicable time, which it says in most instances is immediately, which is what I did. I don't know where they got this Wolverhampton thing from. So I'm reporting it. I'm gonna, there's no point trying to contact Hehir, because Hehir is on his own mission, which is contempt of court. If Christopher Hehir wants to continue with being in contempt of court, which is probably even perverting the course of justice as well, let alone abuse of process or professional negligence, he can do. The SRA have to be informed. So, it's, what time is it? It's 2:00 in the morning now. The Solicitors Regulation Authority are probably going to be there at 9:00, 9:30. The case is listed each day this week at 10:00. So how long does it take to listen to this message? Probably about the time I took to record it. So what the Solicitors Regulation Authority need to do, I've given them all the details. There's a case number, there's the court. I'm reporting it as soon as practical, which was immediately. I don't know why they replied and started talking about Wolverhampton Crown Court, because I never said that at all whatsoever. So, the SRA have received the complaint now, and this particular case is still in session. Hasn't finished yet. So there's still a chance of preventing any further breach in this case. So the SRA need to pick the telephone up, telephone Southwark Crown Court clerk, and inform him or her that there is a breach of the Criminal Procedure Rules 2020 that has been reported by the Crown Prosecution Service Unit, South London. And possibly even maybe they might have to, the clerk might have to inform Christopher Hehir that the SRA are on the phone, asking what he's doing, hearing a breach of criminal procedure rules. Or the SRA can pick two phones up at the same time, phone the Crown Prosecution Service South London unit, and speak to Lionel, who I think is the Chief Crown Prosecutor off the top of my head, and they can ring the court up and speak to the clerk at the same time. Maybe they can have a triple conversation like on Messenger, when you can have three people join the conversation at once. It's quite clear. This is my claim as a citizen. I'm reporting it in because it says that I have to report it in if I'm aware of it as soon as practically possible. In most cases immediately. So, we need action. They've got all the details. I sent all the details. We need action, not replies that are not giving me the even the correct details that I sent.